Arsenal team who have been in title contention for many years before, suddenly in a situation where Craig says they get a nice win away against Crystal Palace, but still the big takeaway is how far they are off the pace.
Well, it's really down to not bringing enough good players in. I mean, you saw this game today, and there was absolutely nothing dynamic at any stage about Arsenal, and it's kind of been the same all season. There's nothing dynamic about them. You know, we used to be able to say that they moved the ball well and they created. They're just kind of, they're getting it done. They got it done today, but, you know, certainly compared to City, but compared to some other teams as well, they're way off the pace.
Well, look, last night I thought that they would win the game, but I thought it would be a much better. I thought Palace would offer more. They've been playing reasonably well. Roy Hodgson's got them off the bottom of the table more or less, you know, in sort of a, you know, playing in some sort of a rhythm. But they didn't really show. Arsenal should have had this game dead and buried in the first half. Absolutely no two ways about that. And the same thing happened again with Arsenal. The mental frailties, whether it's the quality coming in from the management, player-wise, or there's just mental strength. They give a poor goal away. There's nobody tracking Townsend on the edge of the box when he buries it. So you think, oh, here we go again. And all of a sudden, the game that should have been a comfortable game for Arsenal, if they play up to their levels, it wasn't a comfortable game. And it was a little bit boring, to be honest. I mean, when Tompkins comes in at the end on the far post, you think, OK, what's going to happen? They go zonal. Nobody marks them. Nobody attacks the ball. Absolutely ridiculous defending, and it's not going to change.
Last night you were thinking about who was going to win the game.
Yeah.
Last night I was thinking about throwing myself off a really large bridge, thinking about we're having to lead the show with this today again. And we have to, and I understand it, but this is where we are. This was a good result for Arsenal away from home. Yep. But in the context of this football club and the chasing pack of Manchester City, they're nothing more than a club and a team and a manager full of excuses at the moment that will probably, and we haven't heard the press conference from Arsene Wenger just yet, will have some mention of Pep Guardiola and Manchester City's spending.
Guardiola.
Him as well.
He's spending as well.
So what are we supposed to say? Wasn't it a good night for Crystal Palace? Because they're fighting relegation. They probably will be all right. Good result for Arsenal on the road in the context of an away win. But what's the big picture here for these clubs?
How's about we forget about Man City? Otherwise, you're not going to last to the end of the season. You're going to have a heart attack or throw yourself off that bridge or whatever it is you're going to do.
It might not make the end of the game.
It might not make the end of this bloody show, for God's sake.
If we're going to compare everybody to Manchester City, then we've no chance.
Well, that's what we need to do.
At the same time, I mean, you talk about two sides of the coin. Arsenal and Manchester City.
You just said stop comparing people to Manchester City.
You did.
I did.
Forget about them.
I did.
Forget them. They're not in the title. It's 19 teams. City don't exist.
I did, but if Arsenal want to get in the top four,
right,
then they have to do something in January, which seems pretty unlikely because the team they have right now, and certainly the starting 11 they have right now, hasn't got a hope, in my opinion, of getting in the top four and don't deserve to be. You know, if you look at the table, they're 1 point off the top four. Yeah. But as far as the way they play the game, as far as the dynamics of the team, they're way behind the others.
The thing is, when Roy Hodgson must have saw that team sheet tonight, Chambers playing on the right-hand side of that three. That's tailor-made for Zaha to go and absolutely carve him apart. So Chambers goes and gets himself a yellow card. We said when we were watching it, feed Zaha, feed him, and let him go at Chambers. They never did it. They didn't do enough of it. Now, you look at the protection. You know, let's go back to about talking about the players that Arsenal have brought in. Wilshere and Granit Xhaka protecting that back three was ridiculous. I've never seen so much space given. But the ball...
but they won the game.
Palace won at the races, I'll give you that. But that ball should have been going into Benteke all day long and spinning off the back and Kabay. They didn't do it, though.
The fact they won the game is more to do with Palace, isn't it? I mean, like, what decent team is going to look at that?
It's more to do with Alexis Sanchez.
The only thing I'm interested in with Arsenal is the Europa League, which I'm never normally interested in.
You're never interested in the Europa.
I might be if Arsenal go a bit further. I don't know. We'll give it time. Take a few tablets, see what happens. And what happens with Ozil, what happens with Sanchez. We know what's going to happen with Wenger because he'll be there next season. So these are the kind of things that are going to push the Arsenal narrative in the next couple of months. what's going to happen with some of the key players and who they're going to sign, who they're going to lose, what's going to happen with, as you mentioned, Sanchez, who still has a big key.
But he's going to go, isn't he?
Yeah, and why wouldn't he go? Why would he not leave a club at the moment who are in a rut in terms of where they want to go, right? Why wouldn't he? As soon as Wenger signed that contract last year, the writing was on the wall. So, expected to go.
Sanchez was offered that.
Will it be City? I don't know.
Sanchez was offered the contract after they got done 10-2 on aggregate with Bayern. He said, "No, this is not for me." So the writing's been on the wall as far as he's concerned for quite some time. But he just didn't go. He thought he was going to go in the summer window. It didn't happen.
I think we'd all agree that Sanchez is going to go, right?
Yes.
So why don't we think Ozil's going to go? Can you imagine being Ozil? Can you imagine Ozil in the summer sticks a World Cup winners medal in his pocket and then goes back to Arsenal? If you're a player, why would you do that? Why are you going to go and win the World Cup and then going back and play with a team who you know have got little chance either of winning the Premier League and maybe not even getting in the top four? Why would Ozil do that?
See, I wouldn't. Arsenal have won a game tonight away from home in South London. We've all played at Selhurst Park. I tell you what, it's always generally not an easy night down there.
Yeah.
And they've won a game. But I think certainly where I'm coming from here is that all these coaches and all this money, I'm trying to say his name right, but Guardiola.
Correct.
Guardiola this season is
Please don't say that every time.
Yeah.
Call him Pep. He's just making a mockery of the rest. He's making a mockery of the rest at the moment. And I'm not talking about the smaller guys. I'm talking about the so-called big guns. And all we keep hearing from the other teams, pre-match press conference, post-match press conference, is spending.
Yeah.
That's all we keep hearing. It's so boring. It's so boring because these guys need... I said it last night and I'll say it again and I'll say it tomorrow because on tomorrow. They need to get their ducks in a row.
And coach. Pep's coaching.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Pep is actually coaching. And every single player that's ever played for them will tell you that. And the rest of them are all crying about the money.
See what the fullbacks are doing?
We said it yesterday.
Fullbacks tucking in when they've got possession and they get an extra midfielder, squeezing on to win the ball back in a certain period of time, working as units. Centre-halves have got better. Every area of that Man City team has got better, regardless of what they've spent, right? No other team. Is there another team outside the top boys that we can say that for?
There we are.
Why are you laughing?
Because we're talking about Manchester City again. We've gone full circle.
Should we talk about Arsenal sitting in 6th place?
Arsene Wenger said I must have missed
I
this.
presume that's a jibe at the Man City manager,
Pep Guardiola,
who seems to be at the forefront of everybody's sort of finger pointing in terms of spending.
Yeah.
There's no getting away from the fact that he's managed the clubs he's managed have been powerful, big, rich, and previously successful. But there's also no doubt that he took over Barcelona at a difficult time, and he turned that ship around, and it sailed and played. And I remember back to that 2011, I think it was, which he's brought up recently, Champions League final at Wembley.
Yeah.
When I was at that game, luckily enough, and I think United took the lead, and then they absolutely wiped him off the face of the pitch in the stadium. It was incredible. So he's done lots of really good things, not just with money.
But at the same,
I think, you know,
at the same time, Sir Alex Ferguson had a lot more money than anybody else in the Premier League during his tenure at Manchester United. I don't think that should taint his legacy at all. Jose Mourinho comes into Chelsea, gets Abramovich's money at a time where these kind of big money owners were just coming in. I don't think that should taint Jose Mourinho's legacy either at Stamford Bridge. So I'm not going to do the same with Pep Guardiola, no.
It's just a higher thinking of what Pep does. His philosophy is, and everybody says, oh, it's just this possession football. But if you can possess the ball for 60, 70, 80% of the game, the chances are that you're not going to get beat. So therefore, you're going to have the ball all the time. And when you put together all these attacking players with tremendous pace and tremendous flair, you don't just throw them on the field and it just happens. There's a tremendous amount of work that goes on the training ground. So
the thought process that Guardiola could could not coach a Crystal Palace or a West Ham or a Newcastle and improve them is nonsense.
But
The
why
thought
would he want
process
to?
that he
Why
could
would he-
take them,
why would you do
no,
that?
but the thought process that he could take them to a Premier
No, but
League.
everybody's saying that all he
just
does
silly.
is he throws money and then the team
There's more
automatically
to it than that.
performs. It doesn't.
Don't you think there is too much time spent on the coaches and they're often oversized egos? It's the players.
Well, it is. I mean, it will come.
Everybody knows the players don't have egos at all, apparently.
Shaka, you demanded you have tomorrow off and you got your way. That is the ego that you bring to this thing.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, it is true that good players make good managers to a certain extent, but you do.
But good managers make good players as well. I mean, look at the turnaround you see just from Sterling.
ESPN FC is back
Hold on.
tomorrow.
I'm not finished yet. I'm off tomorrow. I have more to say to make up for my own.
Overall, I think it was a very good, positive performance. We were fluent going forward. We controlled well the game. At half-time it was 1-0. It should have been a bit more. And then, of course, you know, at some stage a home team who fights against relegation will come at you. And we started well in the second half. In the first 5 minutes, had 2 good chances. And just after it was down to 1-1. Then we have shown resources and character, and we're leading 3-1, and we controlled quite well the game. But at 3-2 it became a bit nervy again, and we finished a bit, I think, less controlled, in a less controlled way. But overall it was a good team performance.
2 excellent performances tonight from Wilshere and Sanchez.
Yes. They are questioned always, people, when they have not long contracts, but the best way to show that they are committed is to deliver that kind of performance. For Jack, I think we spoke about him recently. You know, he's coming back in a good competitive shape, and I feel that he gives something to the team at the moment that is very interesting. And on top of that, today he gave a great final ball that you want from him.
Did Sanchez go back to Chile over Christmas? Did Sanchez go back to Chile over Christmas?
No.
The pictures of him at Paris Airport suggestion that.
That's true. We had 2 days off on the 24th and on the 25th. That was public. But he did not go to Chile. Went to visit, he met his family somewhere, but not in Chile.
Right, should we move on to West Brom then, please?
Can we just ask about Jack Wilshere, who was just interviewed and said there's no talks yet about his contract? You said
Who?
Jack Wilshere. He said there's still no talks. He was waiting to hear from you. Obviously, you said December. We're nearly at the end of December now. What is the situation with Jack?
The situation is that we will sit down with him.
It was supposed to be December, though. Is that?
Beginning of January, it's planned.
Has there been a reason for a delay? Because you did an.
Sorry?
Has there been any reason for a delay?
There is no delay. I said we will sort out the situation in December, end of December, and so I told him that we want to meet and sit down with him for to talk about the future, and that's what I did, you know. But now we play today, we play on Sunday, we play on Wednesday, so at the moment the focus has to be on the game, and beginning of January we'll do that.
What did you make of Sanchez tonight? Because maybe his performances have dropped a little bit recently. He appeared to be hungry and back in the booth tonight.
I felt he was very good tonight. From the first minute on, he was focused, simple again, you know, and this kind of Sanchez is a great football player as we know him, and that's the kind of performance you want from him.
Is there a frustration that he produces performances like that, and yet it doesn't appear to be the long term beyond the season?
Look, first of all, nobody knows really what will happen, and it's always difficult to speculate. At the moment, we are focused on short term. Short term is win the next game with the players who are committed and ready to fight. It's not a guarantee of how long you will stay somewhere. As long as you are somewhere, you give your best.
You understand that Arsenal fans being concerned that although the performances are good and we show he's
Look, every press conference is a psychological problem as always, to represent a psychological problem. If we would talk about football, it would be better. And I'm not a specialist in psychology. I'm here to comment on the game.
All the time he makes a difference like he did tonight. Is there any way you could let him go in January?
I just answered the question.
Can we move on to West Brom now, please?
Arsene, the last time you went to West Brom, you said you'd made a decision on your future. What was that decision at the time?
I don't remember.
So you don't remember that game? It was obviously quite a difficult game for you. Was that the sort of lowest?
It was a difficult game, like we had here a difficult game, but you have only difficult games in the Premier League, you know, and we go to West Brom, we have to show the same spirit and same kind of performance. Thank you.
Okay. Shall we, at the bottom half of the Premier League, and boy, it's extraordinarily tight down there. Just 6 points separate Bournemouth, who sit in 18th, up to Huddersfield, who sit in 11th. Going through the SPI, it says basically Swansea City, West Brom and Newcastle are the 3 teams that are going to go down. Swansea, of course, announcing the signing of a new coach today, Carlos Carvalhal, coming in. Stevie, who's your picks? Who's in big trouble?
Absolutely, 100% going to agree with the SPI.
Wow.
I think Swansea are absolutely doomed already.
Right. Is that a first?
West Brom.
Do you think they're already thinking about trying to get back up with this signing?
Oh, you mean the manager?
Yeah.
Carvalhal coming in? Listen, if there's one thing that this is not going to do, it's going to inspire the players.
Right.
Because the players are going to go, who is this guy, and why are we bringing a guy in who just got the sack from a team in the lower division, what, 5 or 6 days ago? So, and plus the fact, they're just not very good, Swansea, anyway, regardless.
So Swansea son?
Pep Guardiola.
Oh, right. Well, we got Manchester City back. Why did you do that?
We're on it again.
So, Pep Guardiola couldn't save this mob, so forget that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go West Brom and Newcastle as well.
West Brom already made a change this season. Alan Pardew, of course, coming in.
You know, they're a team that could survive with a manager that sort of does what's happened previously with the likes of Pulis. Just another type of manager like Pulis, I think, with a different voice, same sort of pattern, though, just all about keeping the ball out the net. But I think Alan Pardew is going to come in, or certainly has already, and try to open them up and play a little bit more. And it just isn't working for me. They're not scoring goals. They're not losing too many. They're just going to stay where they are.
And Rafa's Newcastle.
Rafa's Newcastle. Is there anybody in Newcastle's team that would get into any other side as a forward, as bad as all the other teams are? Swansea are horrible going forward. But would you swap Wilfred Boney, for example, for any of the Newcastle strikers? I don't think you would. I just don't see how they're going to score enough goals to stay up.
Craig, do you agree?
Swansea are gone.
Yep.
They're stumbling from one disaster to another. Shambles down there. I think West Brom might get out of it.
Right.
Who else is there? I think Brighton and Hove Albion might get dragged into it.
Yeah.
Who else?
You tell me, Paul.
Southampton?
No, I agree with Steve. I think Newcastle will go. I think Swansea will go. But I think Brighton just, they can't score goals. Yeah, at the moment they're difficult to score against, but I just don't see that lasting. I mean, they're very, very thin on the ground as a squad-wise. That's what I'm going to say, Brighton.
Equalised, honestly believe we're on the front foot then, and we're looking good value, and possibly looking as if we might kick on from there. But we conceded 2 goals, especially the second one, which was a body blow for us. And after that, I thought the players showed great resilience, great determination to in no way capitulate and to continue to fight and try and take the game to Arsenal, risking the counter-attack, which was always going to be a possibility when you throw players forward like we were doing. And in doing so, I thought we created chances, and I thought the second goal was probably a reward for that effort. But it came late, the goal, and unfortunately we didn't have the chance to get the third, which maybe had the goal come earlier, we might have been able to do.